Greetings, fellow humans. Welcome to another Puerto Rico Hurricane Maria update. This is actually a chai latte, chai tea from a K cup. I have very low expectations. The aroma's kind of off. Let's give it a taste. Yeah, that tastes fishy, which is how a lot of things taste in Puerto Rico lately. Puerto Rico is in the news. We can give thanks to that. But people ask me how the island is doing. And here's a notes-free assessment of how the island is doing. Depends on where you ask. It's a very loaded question. It's a very complicated question. It has layers. It has sections, and Puerto Rico is not a huge place in terms of square foot area, but it is a very complicated place to get from one place to the next. People say, "Oh, X or Y percent of the island is energized because this website says so." Energized. That's a tricky terminology. Does that mean energized? Does that mean that there's light and there's electricity in houses? Put it this way: you have a battery, you have devices around, but you don't have anything connecting the battery to the devices. Do the devices have power? No. But this is energized because the energy is here, just waiting to get there. But the light posts are down. Some places worse than others. The situation is pretty bad. After the hurricane, there's been at least 2 weeks with severe floods. Landslides were a daily occurrence. If they get hit with more rain, the soil is still saturated to the point where it's just not going to take it, and there's going to be landslides. Who's doing what? I'm not really sure because right now I haven't done updates because right now the reports aren't trustworthy. I think some people are doing more than they're reporting. A lot of people are doing less than they're reporting, and there's a lot of shady stuff that's happening. Politics have reared their lovely head, and I would really wish ill upon any politician pushing any political agenda right now. It's still a state of emergency in several places. Normalcy, the definition of normalcy in Puerto Rico has changed drastically. You still have to wait in line for hours just to get into the supermarket, just to try and get gas in some places, just to try to get ice. It's better in some places, it's worse in others. There's love-hate stories with FEMA. And again, it goes down to who's covering what and how. We're in the news for two reasons. First off, it's 40 days and it's still a clusterfuck. And obviously I'm frustrated, but I'm doing other stuff, so I'm not always. So it's like not the Sarah McLachlan thing where you see a video of me and go like, "Oh crap, here it comes." Water is still a huge challenge to get to everyone in ample amounts, or any amounts to some people. Again, in the metro areas, there are bubbles where it's wonderful and it's getting better there, and the rest of the island, they're just really scraping by. Some people have been braving the elements or living with relatives or different things. The variety of stories that I've heard are pretty drastic. But also there's a lot of contradicting news, fake news, and real news. Fake news. There was a cow in a light post. I think that was Brazil. Real news. Someone whom I know had to help his neighbors take a dead horse off a roof. This is stuff that happened. I have been able to contact or see people in social media a lot more active, and it's always a very lovely surprise to see people there. Mom was with me until today. She went back because she has to deal with a couple of things, insurance wise, and just life. Obviously, I'm gonna be worried, but mom's a trooper. So I know she's going to be fine. Communications are still spotty with many carriers, and with many municipalities. I think it was T-Mobile and AT&T. They signed with Google so that they can benefit from the loons and just to try to get consistent communication with people. Just to get a signal, people would pull on the driveway, no, expressways. They would get on like in the emergency lane and get down and try to get a signal. Some places that's what you have to do to get communication, and that's pretty crazy. A lot of people are drained by the topic, but I don't have the benefit of being drained. I know that I'm in Georgia and I'm far away, and that has its own challenges. There's a lot of people, and obviously the debate of the diaspora. A lot of people are learning the definition of that word, which is people who have been displaced. Now there's theories going about that they're trying to empty the island so that other people can basically sell the island. A lot of vulture funds have done what vulture funds do. A lot of people with economic interests in the island have done anything in their power to protect their assets and basically decimate the economy of the island. Um, those are the types of news things that I can report. Is water contamination still a problem? Yes, it is. People still have to boil the water. That is gonna have to continue being the case. Was there an epidemic of leptospirosis? No, but there were several cases of leptospirosis. What happened with the cremated people? People die, and they have to cremate them. Um, they're not attributing as many to the hurricane, but here's the thing. Hurricane passes, there's no power, there's X or Y thing, there's no medication, there's a power outage during a surgery, everything gets impacted. Finally, a month after the hurricane, the generators for Centro Médico, which is the main medical hub, arrived. Before that, people were doing operations basically with cell phone lights, and I'm not making this up. You can look it up. By all means, fact check me. Like several politicians, I don't mind if you fact check me, and if you correct me, I'll happily do a correction video. I still think that David Begnaud is the main reason that a lot of things are being done. I do follow him. I'm not going to say that everything that he reports is correct or not, but I do think that he's a very fair reporter and he's doing a hell of a job, and he's actually being an agent of change. Unlike all the bullshit politicians, which I really wish would just jump off a cliff, honestly. I'm not going to mince words. I'm not going to sugarcoat stuff. There's a lot of people doing a lot of damage. Comments of corruption and whatnot, people taking donations for their own well-being. There's a ton of stories and theories and things that are potentially happening, and I can't confirm or deny any of them. It is what it is. The beaches, I still think that they're contaminated to the point where people can't go into the beach. Temperatures are low 90s, so try to imagine going to sleep with that. Mosquitoes are an issue. The mail service is kind of dicey, kind of working. I sent a couple of packages. We'll see how they arrive. Not sure. But, everyone's doing whatever they can. Everyone's doing the best that they can. Some people are, well, not everyone's doing the best that they can. Some people are being shady. The whitefish debacle. There's so many sides to this. I'm not exactly sure what or how it happened. All I know is that a contract looked as bogus as it could, and it's actually a redraft. The original contract didn't have many of the stipulations that was in the redraft. Basically, a small company with two full-time employees, probably like an office assistant or whatnot, subcontracted a ton of people, and they got awarded part of the repairs of the island. Who's whitefish? Who cares? People turned it political because a lot of people are trying to gain a lot of wealth. In every tragedy, people are gonna make money. That is a sad fact. But just look at Katrina, what happened with boarding schools and different things. I offered one example, but in Puerto Rico, there's going to be a ton of situations that are going to be really crazy, and people are leaving at an alarming rate. They were already leaving at an alarming rate. Good things that have happened, looking at the silver lining, people are starting to find out how much Puerto Rico had the deck stacked against it. I'm not saying there's not government corruption and then there's not maluse of and misuse of funds and whatnot. But people learning about the Jones Act, which is actually defended by some people in the Puerto Rican government who have their opinion. I'm not gonna offer a judgment on that. Fail to see the damage that law, along with several others, have done to the island. Long story short, the Jones Act means that I need fuel. Puerto Rico needs fuel. Wherever I get the fuel from, which is probably going to be a U.S. territory, I have to ship it through U.S. That means that I could get shorter routes from other places and I could get petrol a lot cheaper, but I can't because of the Jones Act. So that means that U.S. oil companies are benefiting from that, plus U.S. shipping companies are benefiting from that. Multiply that by everything, because basically 92% of what the island consumes is imported. You can see that it's a cash cow. Puerto Rico is a small island, but it's a high consumer island, and a lot of companies have opened branches there simply because it's good business. That's one example of the things that have come to light, and people see it. Half the people in the U.S. didn't know that Puerto Rico was a part of the U.S. It's a U.S. territory. It's a U.S. colony, and it's being called that. And I actually agree with that assessment. People say no, it is a commonwealth, or no, it is a freely associated state because they want to translate directly Estado Libre Asociado. No, they're not. No, it's basically a colony because we everything that we have is imposed. We do have a local regulations, but federal regulations go over that, meaning that if there's a conflict of laws, the one that's prevalent is the federal one. So I don't even know why we have a code of law. It's like it's like an elementary school council. That's what Puerto Rico is, and the principal and the deans are the U.S. We have vote. No, we don't. But again, I don't want to talk too much about that because people will think that I want to politicize it, and I hate anything that's politicizing it because there's still an emergency and people still need water and food, and roads are still blocked and people are still at risk, and health is a situation and everything is a situation. What else can I say? You see the news one day, then it contradicts itself at least 3 times. So what are you gonna report? I'm not a correspondent. I don't have trustworthy sources. I go to places that that are telling the truth that I can corroborate with people. Obviously, psychological distress is a huge issue. But it is what it is, and people are trying to put their best face on. Local businesses, I'm trying to support them on Instagram and different places, and just try to give like a sense of hope and a sense of motivation, and to say that even though I'm here, and I know I don't have the right to have the anguish that people on the island have, I do feel the need to help and do my part in any way that I can. It's a very frustrating time to be a Puerto Rican, especially when you see people from Houston that got aid after the hurricane think that it's a bad idea to give aid to Puerto Rico. It's very sad that Puerto Rico is going to get a loan rather than get debt relief and just aid. Florida got aid. Houston got aid. Everyone who got who got bashed by Hurricane Sandy a couple of years back got aid. Puerto Rico's going to get a loan. Do you see the pattern of really milking that cash cow? People say, yeah, but a third of the Puerto Rican population is under levels of poverty, or they have Medicaid. That's true, but still, those people consume stuff. You know, they still eat Krispy Kreme and Burger King and different places. They still go to shop at Penny's and Macy's. Macy's is the second best-selling Macy's before Hurricane Maria. Second best-selling Macy's in the world, next to New York. J.C. Penney, I think the number one in sales is Puerto Rico. Number one in sales for Krispy Kreme is Puerto Rico. Number two in sales is in the world, I think per capita, is Puerto Rico. These are all foodstuffs, but it's not just food. It's different things as well. But it's more easily findable information. What's going to happen with Puerto Rico? I have no idea. A lot of people are leaving. A lot of patients are leaving. A lot of doctors are leaving. Things are getting better, but let's take a second to see how many weeks it's taken. People can have whatever opinions they have. I've seen a lot of people do stupid things to try to get a photo op. I've seen people that give great interviews, but the underground efforts are not there. There's people that want to make heroes of people that aren't really heroes. They give great interviews, but who knows if they're doing the best job. My mom lives in a municipality. Debris is still in her house. She has to go to make a scene to see if they can clear debris that's been there over a month. And this has to be said. A lot of aid is getting to the places of where most direly need it, and a lot of the resources are getting to lower income families. But the middle class is getting shafted completely. Again, and this is something that happens stateside and that happens in Puerto Rico. I have seen a couple of friends that finally got like meals from the army in different places, but they weren't even on the list. And it's a very, very intense situation, and a lot of people, because they have some means, are not on the list to get help or aid. Cash is a huge situation. A lot of places have been charging people in cash. That's gonna bring issues. One of the issues that it has brought is that some municipalities have run out of cash. You could go to all the ATMs and you wouldn't find cash. So if they don't take cards, you don't have cash, and you need water and food, how are you gonna get it? That's been the situation for some people in the southern part of the island, in Juntas and Ponce, and other stuff like that. The west part of the island has also been neglected. The east part of the island has been neglected. Again, the bubbles get the attention. The other places, not so much. But yeah, that's pretty much what I can report off the top of my head. I do keep as up to date with as much news as I can. Obviously, it's something that takes an emotional toll, and I'm not gonna do these videos all the time because just corroborating information is borderline impossible. I did revise the links that I included on Facebook in terms of the people that I think are doing the best efforts. I will probably reevaluate those links in about 3 weeks' time, just in case I have to tweak and see if I can offer people the best options to donate. But yeah, the Hurricane Maria tag is still there. If you do it here on BookTube, I'll be happy to send you all my ebooks. Because I'm still in a state of emergency, and I still want to do whatever I can to help. The humans for Puerto Rico giveaway is still going on. There's a couple of hours left if you see this. But not much participation, and all I'm asking is for people to care about other places. It could be Puerto Rico or other places, but hey, we do what we can. And as for Puerto Rico, if you have any questions or if you have any information that you want to share, by all means, have at it. Until next time, thanks for tuning in, and peace, love, and maki rolls.